Hello, hello. I was just I was just recording going live over on Instagram. Thought I was going live here on Facebook. Was not. So I'm actually going to do this again. Just go for it. Um so what I wanted to talk to you about today that may be helpful is a dynamic I see often in relationships, something I've certainly lived through myself. Um, this can happen especially when people start something new that they become really passionate about, or when they start on a new path in their journey of personal growth, and that is they really want their partner or friend or loved one to come along. Um, Maybe they've heard that saying that you are the combination of the five people you spend the most time with, and you want to really up level the people who are already in your life so that you can keep growing at the rate you want to grow and you don't want to feel stagnated by them. You may feel like we're just not on the same path and I want them to get on this path because it really matters to me. Or we're actually on the same path, but I'm just making all this progress and they're kind of stuck behind. I feel like they've got some kind of resistance or depressive energy or something around this, and I just feel like everything would be better if they caught up and were on this path with me. And you may see them stuck, you may see them as missing out, and you may have this tension that builds inside of you that you really want them to see the light. So, I really want to just honor how beautiful this desire is, that you found something good, you found something that really works for you, and you want to share that with people who matter. You want to create this container, this place in your life that just feels so good, that involves all these pieces. And it's a really beautiful intention. And probably even deeper under that intention is the desire for connection and a commitment that you're making to this relationship, that you want to see it progress and grow, and you just want something good for this other person. But this can create tension, not just in you, in your desire to create this and kind of get this change to happen. It also creates tension for the other person and within the dynamic of your relationship. So let's talk about a couple things that are in play. One, this tension can really come from a false sense of security or safety. You may feel that there's a threat to the relationship if they're not going on this path that you're going on. And if they did that, then everything would feel safe and normal and we'd be good. And I'm not rocking the boat. But this can also cause someone to feel manipulated or controlled, that it's your story, you're writing the script, and they just need to join your narrative. And that really doesn't feel good for people. It also, I just want to drop in another piece here, that even if they do decide to join you, they do decide to try this new thing, they do decide to go down on this path, they do decide to put a little bit more energies into it so they can catch up, they read the book, they take the seminar, whatever it is, it doesn't mean that everything will still be the safety and security that you're looking for. As a matter of fact, maybe they will overtake you in this leapfrogging thing that can happen very often with growth in individuals and relationships. They will end up steps ahead of you, and now you will feel the pressure. You will feel left behind. You will feel the need to conform and work harder. And then you won't feel like you get to go at your own pace either. And I want to drop in a story here too. My partner shared with me. He was at an event, and there was a woman who had brought her husband, and he was very reluctant to go, was very on guard, kind of stepping back, and eventually during the course of the event, opened up, gave it a go, had all this new energy and life force in him, and was opening up to the work, to the people. And as they went back home, with this new sense of life in him, he actually went and found a different guru, someone else he could follow and get going on that path, which ended up not being something that really fostered their relationship or their family dynamic. It was actually at odds with that. So just there's the horror stories of how pushing someone into something could actually really backfire for you. So be careful what you wish for. Now, on a positive note, too, there are instances when done the right way, someone can come along and join you, but that really has to be their own choice. And I know for myself, when I've really let go of that outcome and I've just held the vision, something can step in really beautifully. So I was engaged in a type of work that I really got passionate about. I really enjoyed it. It made a huge difference in my life. And I went to an event and saw a couple who were partaking in this and just felt really inspired by that. Really hoped that I could have that same experience. And it was just really tucked away in the back of my mind. And then later, with a different partner than I was with at the time, my current partner, and I ended up going to these events and doing it together. And it was just like this moment of, wow, I dreamed of that. And it actually has happened. And there have been years later events I've done first, and then, hey, would you like to join me in this? And then sitting in that event being like, wow, we're doing this together. I am so grateful, and I've gotten to have that experience. So there can be horror stories and there can be positive stories, but in the attempt to try and make these things happen, it can actually be really damaging to the relationship. So one thing that can happen in this really sweet and kind effort, this desire for this, is it could create resistance in the other person. So if they feel like this is being forced on them, they may actually rebel against it. And even if later they may feel a sense of inspiration to try it, they've already said they weren't going to do it. So it would take a whole lot more energy for them to then turn around and be like, okay, I really want to do this. So we want to just avoid creating that resistance within them. Because people don't change because you want them to, they change because they want to. So another thing that can happen if you're pushing them to try this new thing is that they won't feel accepted for who they are. And in my experience, in my journey, I have found that love is not actually control or desiring someone to do something. It is truly acceptance. And that when I feel really accepted for who I am right now, in this moment, that's when I feel the most love. If I'm allowed this authentic expression, if they're allowed for this to be a yes for them, it's right for them, it's their decision, then they will feel honored, then they will feel respected. Because I'd love for you to really acknowledge, and maybe you're on the other side of this too, is that they are the ultimate authority of them, you are the ultimate authority of you. So you don't get to, even if you feel like you're wise, you're an oracle, you can just see things in them that they can't quite see for themselves, you don't have the ultimate power. They know themselves actually better than you do. And the forces that be know perfect timing better than you do. So really, it's best to step out of the way, let things happen the way that they're meant to happen, which doesn't mean you can't have influence, which I will talk about later. So again, at the background of this, there is a beautiful essence for connection, for growth. And what I would ask you to look at too is where are the places this might actually already exist in your relationship? Are you really just focused on, I need this, I'm fixated on that, and that's what needs to happen. Versus, oh, actually, here are the things that we do share together. Here are the places that we are growing together. Here are the ways in which I really do admire this person and the path that they're on, even if it's not this path. There are so many things that you can still find in common, so many things you can share, and you don't need to be in the exact place at the exact time, always. I have this example of a friend of mine who I really enjoy spending time with. And I see there's this place in them where there's a little thing off around finances. And every time we're together, I hear about how something's expensive or something, or how much is that? And that's something I am not going to ask them to change. I am not going to get too focused on. I am not going to avoid spending time with them because I feel like they have this one thing off. It's just something I accept, and I focus on the other things that we share and the other ways that we add value in our time we get to spend together. So you don't need someone to be everything in one person. There may be other arenas that just really still make the connection valuable, but you don't need to be on the same page all the time. Now, of course, there's also boundaries that you may have around relating. And maybe this really is a make or break for you. Maybe it is a deal breaker. But you may find there are still spaces in which you can play before you get to that spot. And one place you may create a boundary is, for instance, if you do have a friend who's always complaining about X, you may say, hey, we're getting together. I know that this is difficult for you, but I'm going to give you 3 minutes to talk about it, and then I just need us to connect on other things and talk about other things. Or maybe it's not 3 minutes. Maybe it's just this is something that I just can't partake in right now. So let's focus on this other thing we can talk about or explore together. So when done with kindness and with firmness and consistency, people who love you and respect you will eventually, it may be jarring to them at first, but they will usually fall in around this boundary and ultimately respect it. And it will possibly up-level the energy of your relating and their own energy too, to have to find a new way outside to be able to fit in within this boundary. So you may ultimately find that it is a deal breaker and that you're not quite a match. And society might not give that as much value as it really is, and ending any type of relationship can be very challenging. But I just want you to know that it's okay. There's nothing wrong with it, and after you've tried many different things, it may be a place to walk away from. But I fully suggest you explore it first. And if you need to end the relationship, you need to end the relationship. But here's some suggestions that may make this change or this bringing something new to this person's life actually happen and be successful. Number one is really asking permission. I've just discovered something new. I'd really love to share about it. Are you open to that? My partner personally, he is amazing. He tries so many different things. He's quite the explorer, quite the seeker. And he always, when he's seeing someone he hasn't seen in a while, will have something new to share that he's exploring, something he's working on. And it's not done from a place, he said he used to do this, but not quite so anymore, of like, you have to try this, or really imploring it, but really just like sharing honestly and authentically and letting the passion come through. And he never knows quite how it's going to land. And there have been multiple times where years later, someone will say, hey, remember that thing you suggested? That actually made a huge impact and difference in my life. And it may even be years since he suggested it until they actually try it. But he never knows the ripples he's going to make. He's just sharing authentically with their permission and lets the chips fall as they may. And that's where the other aspect that really is successful in this realm is by not trying to force or tell or demand someone to change, but to just be the change yourself, to just be an inspiration rather than a demand. That someone will see, wow, look at you, look what you're doing. I'm totally interested in that. Can you tell me? Can you share what's going on? It's a leading by example. So instead of trying to say you gotta do this, it's just walking the walk yourself. And with these closer relationships, there may also be a space instead of this whining, this demanding, this, or maybe even, leaving the book on the bedside table or signing them up for the course. Maybe just taking the time, asking them to sit down with you and just sharing from the heart why it matters to you and the benefit that it would provide if they took an interest in that, and then completely releasing it and allowing them to make up their own mind, knowing the impact that it would have on you and why it matters to you could inspire them to give it a try. But again, ultimately, they are given the freedom to make that choice. So that is all I have for you today. I hope that was helpful. I think this is a dynamic that comes up quite often in our journeys and our path to growth. If it resonated for you, or you know someone else who's really going through this that it could serve, please share. And I'll catch you another time. Take care.